You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast, the world's premier sports betting podcast. Your source for the best information and insight when it comes to sports wagering. We cover it all because you bet on it all. So let's head up to the studio and get this show rolling.
Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast. I am Brooksy, the Irish Insider, and I'm with my co-pilot in crime tonight, Doug E. Betts, and that's Betts with a Z. Dougie, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I am doing wonderful. It's a great time to be a sports fan, great time to be a sports bettor with March Madness coming around the corner, all the futures for baseball, hockey, playoffs ramping up the next couple months. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And March Madness has not failed us, right? It's been an exciting tournament so far. We're knee-deep into March Madness. Today is the second round, the end of the second round. After today's games, the Sweet 16 is going to be solidified. And you know what? There's a bunch of games going to take place later this afternoon. You and I are going to be breaking them down one by one, sharing our picks and plays, Dougie.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. A couple Cinderella stories unfolding. We'll see a tail end of a couple, higher seeds, 10 seeds, 11 seeds playing into this round. So exciting to see what can happen going forward.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, so where are we today? Well, we're back at The Boat. That's right. We're at The Boat in Dracut, Massachusetts, 294 Tyngsboro Rd in Dracut, Massachusetts. This is the second time we've been here, Douglas, in the last month or so. We were fortunate enough to broadcast here on Super Bowl Sunday. That was a pretty fun time, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It was a fun time. I think we all did pretty good in that with our picks.
We did.
Had a lot of fun on Super Bowl Sunday.
We sure did. And so we certainly got to thank the owners here at The Boat for allowing us to bring our traveling circus here to The Boat. So, hey, anyone within earshot, this is definitely one of New England's premier entertainment venues, certainly known for their signature cocktails. They've got delicious food with the Fortune and Flame kitchen. Man, I think we've already had about half of the menu the last time. We're probably going to finish off the other half today. Unbelievably courteous staff, friendly folks, live entertainment. They've got music, they've got comedy, all kinds of great stuff. And I tell you what, come on down today because behind the bar is Joy. And I tell you what, she can make one mean cocktails. And I'm talking about the best in the business. So come on down, see Joy. Tell her 7 and a Hook told you to come see her. So, but anyways, a couple other members of the 7 and a Hook podcast team not with us. We're going to talk about them shortly. But we do have a third member of the team, and that is Kara, the queen of diamonds. And I'm not talking about diamonds on your hand or diamonds in playing cards. I'm talking about diamonds, baseball diamonds, okay? She knows baseball like nobody else. We're going to have her up with us shortly, and we're going to talk a little baseball with her, Douglas.
Sounds good to me. Exciting baseball season finally coming back to us. It didn't seem like it was going to happen this year, but we got it, and the Red Sox are looking fun.
Feels good. And the other two members of the team, Eric LaFleche, easy money Eric LaFleche, he's on assignment today, and Jimmy D for Double Down, he's also on assignment. But they'll both be here at one of the upcoming shows at The Boat. All right, so real quick, what are we going to cover tonight? We're going to talk a little bit of football. I mean, football season's over, but it's really never over, Douglas, is it?
No, not at all. And kind of some football player decided to come back to play. I'm not sure what his name was again.
We're going to get to him shortly. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit of football, then we're going to do a little Major League Baseball. Obviously, that's back. Awesome. Then we're going to touch a little NHL, and then we're going to end with NCAA men's basketball. That's right. It is March Madness. But, okay, so you mentioned a quarterback that may or may not have retired and came back recently. Who are you referring to? I don't know.
First, I thought it was Brett Favre because the first time I think of retiring and retiring, you think Brett Favre. But Tom Brady, as I'm sure a few people know, did decide to come back this year, and that obviously bumped up the odds of the Buccaneers getting back toward the Super Bowl appearance a little bit. But Brady coming back after what seemed like he was gone, and the Buccaneers are going to work towards a rebuild with the amount of free agents they have. They're doing their best to bring back that championship team from a couple of years ago. What do you think about that?
Listen, I'm glad he's back. I mean, he brings a certain excitement to football. Obviously, we're from New England, so we kind of have that connection with him. But he's just fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and believe me, the odds makers, they definitely think he adds value to the team because after he retired, Tampa Bay was like a plus 1,500 to win the Super Bowl. They dropped to I think it was a plus 750 at Showtime. So they definitely think he's worth something.
Oh, yeah. Literally doubled their odds to win a Super Bowl just from one guy coming back.
Crazy.
Not many times you'll hear of a 44-year-old or 45-year-old returning, doubling the odds of winning a championship in any sport.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
That's why he's the GOAT. Another quarterback signing this week came out of left field, and that was Deshaun Watson that had been in limbo down there at the Houston Texans, signed 5-year, $230 million guaranteed contract with the Cleveland Browns. What say you?
I think he's going to have a lot of money when he retires to
Yes.
lay some lines down, some money lines, see what he wants to bet on. But Deshaun Watson coming back, it's a very not surprising Browns move. It puts Baker Mayfield in a tough spot. It puts the Browns in a tough spot, depending on how you look at this whole situation morally and I guess legally at that point.
Yeah,
they got to let it play out, see what the NFL decides. Is he going to have to sit out a year again? What's going to happen with that? It's definitely a very odd and somewhat uncomfortable situation, especially for a guy like Baker Mayfield to be in. But kind of just got to let it play out at this point, see what happens.
Yeah, listen, he's getting paid.
Yep.
So, he's a big boy. He'll decide what he wants to do. Now, maybe his shoulder's going to start hurting again.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe he won't be able to play.
Maybe.
In air
Who
quotes,
knows?
right? So he'll probably force a trade.
But
you know what I mean?
in that sense, they brought in Jacoby Brissett, and that is a real game changer.
Oh, yeah.
Jacoby Brissett, that third-string quarterback phenom.
From the New England Patriots tree, right? So you can't be hating on him.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, all right. So football season technically is over, but we did want to touch about Tom Brady coming back. The NFL draft is coming up in a few weeks, so we'll probably have a show on that too. But today, let's head right to Major League Baseball. And yes, Major League Baseball. Thank the baseball gods is back.
Yeah.
The players and the owners settled all their whatever differences they had. It was mostly money. That's really what it comes down to. And there was some other things that got changed. But good news is baseball is back. We'll have something to do this summer. A lot of games that we'll be able to break down. And it's really going to be the first year in a few years, Dougie Betts, that full capacity of stands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fans in the stands. Because last year was kind of hit or miss depending on where the game was and what state you were in. But now everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
So, and opening day for the Red Sox, April 7th. And who are they opening with? The New York Yankees. All right?
Ratings.
Exactly, ratings. You got it. It's a 3-game series. It's at the Bronx. But, hey, looking forward to that. So today, I mean, even though they've already been down at camp, today is officially the first day of spring break. I mean, not spring break, spring training.
Yeah.
Okay, it's mandatory for you to show up. A lot of the players showed up a few days earlier. They've been playing some games, but today is mandatory. And, hey, it's good to see it.
Absolutely. It's great to see baseball back. And, being back, after COVID and everything like that, I was lucky enough that I went to a few of the Red Sox playoff games last year during that big run against the Rays, against the Astros, and how much fun that was. It really revitalizes baseball now that it's 100% back. Now that everyone's back in that groove, a lot of guys are coming back from injuries, ready to go, and it's going to be a very exciting year for baseball.
It is, and they've also implemented some changes heading into the 2022 season. First, it's the playoffs. They're expanding it from 10 teams now to 12, which, listen, more playoffs, I'm all for it. Like, more baseball, I'm all for it. So they're going to have 3 division winners and 3 wild cards in each league. The top 2 division winners kind of get a bye, I guess, in the first round. But the other 4 teams, they're going to play a best-of-3 series, which is exciting. No longer these 5 games, 3 series. It's, you know what I mean? You got to perform right away, and I like that. I really like that. And what else did they change? The DH.
Yep.
Universal designated hitter. Pitchers no longer have to have a spot in the lineup. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and I appreciated that kind of old school fact about baseball that they had the pitcher bat in the National League, but I do appreciate more the ability of players being able to specialize in what they do. The pitchers just worry about pitching, and the hitters worry about hitting. Opens up a lot more jobs for guys who have been kind of on that fence, who can't field, the David Ortiz type players who really don't like playing in the field at all.
No,
and they like being able to hit.
Exactly.
And this gives them that opportunity to get paid in a time when baseball money is at an all-time high. but also opens up opportunities for guys to get more jobs. And obviously, we're talking guys who have already made plenty of money.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to make plenty more, but in the end, it's a guy who, might still have a few years left in him in baseball and wants to be able to carry on. Couldn't do that a few years ago, but now he can.
And listen, I'm all. I like scoring. Yeah. I like runs. You know, what I mean, a pitcher's basically an automatic out in most situations. So, unless you're Shohei Ohtani for the Angels, and then you hit 45 home runs. Other than that, most pitchers stink at hitting. So I'm all for it. And extra innings now is just extra innings. There's no more putting a guy on second base and all that mumbo jumbo. And I know they wanted to speed up the game, but hey, the players and the owners voted. Let's just have extra innings. Could be 22 innings. It is what it is. Yeah. So all right. So let's. What we're going to talk about today in the MLB is we're gonna give our picks on who we think is going to win the World Series, and we've got 2 each in the American League and 2 each in the National League. And once we've done ours, then we're going to bring up Kara, the Queen of Diamonds, and she's got her pick for World Series. But all right, I'm going to start with the American League. All right, I've got the first team I'm looking at is the Toronto Blue Jays, plus 1,000 to win the World Series. Now, last year they missed the playoffs by 1 game. Okay, it was either going to be the Red Sox, the Yankees, or Toronto. Ended up being Red Sox and Yankees, but half a game, whatever it was, they missed out on it. They're still a favorite to me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I mean, just look at their lineup. Vladimir Guerrero, 48 home runs. Okay, Hernandez, 296 average, 32 home runs. You got Bichette, 298 average, 29 home runs. Springer, now he was hurt last year, but he's a 35 home run guy himself, right? And then Simeon, 45 home runs. That's a pretty potent. That's 5 guys right there. You're talking 35 to 40 home runs each.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you prepare for that as a pitching staff? You don't. You can't pitch around anybody. And then their pitching staff, I can't forget, Gausman, he'd come over from San Francisco. Big pickup for those. Barrios, you got Ryu, Manoa, and Kikuchi. Again, they're a potent lineup at bat and pitching, so that's why they're my favorite in the American League.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that in the sense that the Blue Jays, the big downfall from them, in my perspective, is their veteran presence. George Springer, I guess, would provide that, but a lot of it is a young team.
It is. I agree.
If they can overcome that and just play raw, good baseball, they're definitely going to be a contender, but this AL East is insane this year. My favorite right now, and it does come out of the AL East because that's got to be one of the, if not the best division in baseball, would be the New York Yankees. At plus 900 right now, it's tough to say that they're not going to be a contender this year. They bring in a guy like Josh Donaldson, who back 9 of his career for sure, but adds another solidified power piece to that lineup. The biggest thing for them, as it is with a team like the Red Sox as well, and even a little bit like the Blue Jays, is their pitching. Can their pitching hold up?
Yeah.
This is a hitter's MLB right now.
100%.
Hitters hit, and pitchers usually let up home runs. When a pitcher can play well, that's going to be the difference maker for your team because we've seen them struggle so much. Very inconsistent. Luis Severino a few years ago was an ace for the Yankees.
He was.
And he has just plummeted.
Yep.
Since then.
Fell off the earth, basically.
That being said, I still do like the Yankees if they can stay healthy with the pure power they have and the overall build of the team, the veteran presence, the idea that they know they've come up short so many times, the amount the team has invested into them, and obviously the Yankees fan base being so rabid. I think all this can come together this year. And right now, that's my safest bet in the American League would be the Yankees to take home the title. Obviously, a lot can change, but I would put money on the Yankees.
It's
right
a
now.
long season, as they say. All right, the Braves. The Blue Jays are my A pick. My B pick is the Angels, the LA Angels. Now they're plus 4,000. That's a big number, okay?
Yeah.
And I get it. They were 77 and 85 last year. Didn't make the playoffs. Really had a very poor year, okay? There's 2 guys that make that team go, right? Shohei Ohtani.
Yep.
Okay, we already mentioned him. Pitcher, hitter. He's kind of Babe Ruth in the 2020s, right? He does it all. And then Mike Trout, okay? The team goes how they go, okay? Now, Shohei, last year, he was the AL MVP, and why not? He pitched. He was 23 and 9. He had an ERA of 3.18, had 156 strikeouts. Ace. Absolute ace, okay?
Absolutely.
And then when he doesn't pitch, he plays in the field, okay? He batted .257, had 46 home runs and 100 RBIs. This guy, unfortunately, he plays in a team that doesn't get a lot of media, okay? If he was in New York or Boston, I mean, this guy is just, he's he's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Okay?
Or just the other side of L.A.
Or the other side. Exactly. No, right. Playing for the Dodgers blue. But it's almost like he's forgotten in this league, and that's crazy. That's crazy. He's going to go. He's already a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, for what he does. He's only been in the league a couple of years. And then there's Mike Trout, right? Those two guys. Unfortunately, Mike Trout has been injured last couple of years.
Yeah.
He only played 36 games last year. Year before, he played 54. Didn't put up many numbers because he didn't play. But the 2 years prior to that, 2019, played 134 games, batted .291, 45 home runs, and 104 RBIs. Year before that, batted .312, played 150 games, 39 home runs, and over 100 RBIs. It really comes down to those two guys. And Ohtani has been healthy. I'm not worried about him. It's Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Can he play 130, 140 games?
Yeah.
If he does, the Angels are going to be a contender because they've got some pretty good pitching. I already mentioned Ohtani. They've got Syndergaard. They've got Sandoval. They've got Suarez. And in the bullpen, Iglesias, who had 35 saves last year. So it is a long shot in the sense that they were poor last year, and it's plus 4,000. But if those two guys stay healthy, Mike Trout most importantly, they'll be there.
Yeah. My pick, kind of my backup pick, and again, I think both the American League and National League are very top-heavy this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking at plus 1,200, which isn't too much of a drop-off for the Chicago White Sox. I thought they were right there, a step below last year. But they have the biggest thing is, again, another year in the league for a guy like Michael Kopech on the front end of the rotation, and a guy like Luis Robert. Robert is kind of right there. He could be the next guy in baseball if he continues to grow like he should. And you add him to that core of Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal behind the plate, Tim Anderson at shortstop. You get Gavin Sheets getting a little better as well. And Gavin Sheets getting a little better is huge as well. Big power left-handed bat in that lineup. And the White Sox are in a really weak division in the Central. Tigers tried to sign a couple guys, but they get Javi Baez, but that's not too much of a thing.
No.
The only real contender I think they have in that division is the Minnesota Twins. And if the Twins can pull off something, that would be awesome. It would be a good battle between Minnesota and Chicago. But Cleveland, I don't think, has anything this year. And
the Guardians? The Guardians? Yes. That team?
Yeah, they have a new way to build. With it's a fresh start, but I don't think it's enough to really contend for a World Series.
Did I mention I hate the name Guardians?
It's not the greatest.
No,
I thought they could have come up with something a little better.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. It's kind of too spacey for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is whatever. That's Cleveland's deal, not ours. Yeah. So, all right. So, I definitely see. I understand what you're saying about Chicago White Sox. They might sneak up on some people this year.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. Let's move to the National League. All right. I've got two teams that I'm looking at that, in my opinion, have the top shot at making the World Series, and that's the first team is the blue, L.A. Dodgers. All right. Now, plus 500 right now as we sit. Last year they lost in the championship series. The league, the NLCS. My brain is just on backwards. To the Braves, 4-2, 4 games to 2. The Braves went on to win the World Series. Okay, now they just signed. Was it 2 days ago or 3 days ago? Whatever it was. Freddie Freeman. Okay, from Atlanta. Again, the rich just get richer. All right, Freddie Freeman, 300 hitter last year. 31 home runs, 83 RBIs. Okay, pair him up with Max Muncy, 36 home runs. You got Will Smith, 25 home runs. Justin Turner, 27 home runs. Who am I missing? Mookie Betts, former Red Sox, 25 home runs. And then Cody Bellinger. Now, he was hurt last year. He hasn't been the player last 2 years maybe, but if he can come back healthy, I mean, he's 25, 30 home runs without even trying.
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
so that's kind of a murderer's row out there in Dodgerland. And then pitching, well, they've got Buehler, they've got Urias, Kershaw signed another year, he's coming back, and then you got David Price. I don't know, he's kind of wild card. He might be starting, he might be in a bullpen. The one hole that they do have, and that is in the bullpen, and that's the closer. Kenley Jensen just left. He signed with who? Atlanta. Yeah. So right now it's closer by committee. Even with that situation, I think the Dodgers still are the best team in the National League, so that's why I like them at plus 500.
Yeah, and I'm going to completely agree with you. It's really hard not to.
Yeah.
If you're picking a favorite to win a World Series, regardless of the league, the Los Angeles Dodgers are that. They built up a team. This is reminiscent of a LeBron super team, but instead of a big 3, they have a big, 12.
It's pretty much, yeah.
But then again, baseball is the hardest sport to be consistent in the sense where you need everyone to be playing at their top to actually eclipse. You think of back some of the best teams in baseball history. And what was it, the 2001 Mariners? So they hit 110 wins, was it, I think, or 115 wins?
It might have been more than that,
Randy
yeah.
Johnson. That team was considered, and they didn't even get to they didn't even win the title at all. And you look at the buildup of that team wasn't really close on paper to how good this Dodgers team could be. This
not
team,
even close.
If you're playing a video game and you put it on simulation mode, you're looking at 125 wins with this Dodgers team. But it's played by
10
humans.
runs a game, too, right?
And it's just a matter of everyone can stick together. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of other contenders in the National League. I'll hit it with my secondary pick, my backup pick, again, very top-heavy, and it's not really even a surprise at this point, the Atlanta Braves. The only reason why I think they're considered a less of a favorite is because how hard it is to repeat as a champion.
It is.
There's obviously some great teams in the National League and the Mets, other teams like the Cardinals who are on the up and up as well. But I think the Braves right now are one of the only teams that can dethrone the Dodgers. And that's what happened last year. That's what's going to happen this year if someone's going to take down the Dodgers. Matt Olson coming in for Freddie Freeman. A lot of people look at that as an upgrade, or at the very least an equal trade-off, because Olson's 5 years younger.
Right. That's right.
More home runs. Their batting average, getting on base percentage, pretty similar. Left-handed bat. Olson is a power freak. They lose a guy like Jorge Soler, which again was a deadline pickup. They can replace something like that. But I think the Braves are the one team that if you're going 7-game series to dethrone a super team like the Dodgers, they're going to do it.
Yeah, they definitely got a potent lineup. I mean, and they play exciting baseball.
Yes.
They make you make plays.
And they get Acuna back this year.
They get Acuna back.
Huge.
That's right. That is big. All right, like I said, the Dodgers are my A play. My B play is the San Francisco Giants. Okay. Now, obviously, they lost in the division series last year, 3-2 to the Dodgers. And yes, I know Buster Posey, he retired. I get it. Okay. And Kevin Gausman, he's now with Toronto. I understand. They're still a very good baseball team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now they're plus 2,800. Again, it's a longer shot. Okay. But again, I look at their lineup. Brandon Belt, 29 home runs, batted about 300. Brandon Crawford, 300 hitter, 24 home runs, 90 RBIs. And then Yaz, not our Yaz, but Yaz,
Yeah.
Mike Yastrzemski, who is Carl Yastrzemski's grandson. He had an unbelievable season last year. 25 home runs, 75 RBIs, kind of came out of nowhere, right? It's kind of been a guy that's been going from team to team to team. But, man, he landed with the San Francisco Giants, and he found a home.
Yeah.
He's a good player. Pitchers, you got Alex Wood, Carlos Rondon coming over from the White Sox. He left the team you like. Logan Webb. And in the bullpen, you got Jake McGee and you got Tyler Rogers. Kind of closer by committee, which normally doesn't work. But last year they had 51 saves between both of them. So it worked, okay? Again, plus 2,800. I like them as my B team in coming out of the National League. So
one more quick bet on this, which I like, and it's not even for a World Series or anything like that. A team that's been rebuilding the last few years, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, you know what?
They're right on that cusp of 80 wins over under. I like them as a sleeper just to make the playoffs. With this extended wild card, the addition of some great names and great power bats. Corey Seager, huge deal. Marcus Semien,
I like
huge deal. Mitch Garver, a power-hitting catcher coming from Minnesota. They have, again, a great pitching staff. Spencer Howard, the young pitcher they got from the Phillies.
Good player, good arm.
Could he make a difference in this rotation? The Rangers, again, I don't expect them to win anything, but with that third wild card opening up, I could easily see them sneaking in as that team in a very heavy American League.
Like I said, I love the new playoff format. Give me extra teams. There's always going to be that upset, and especially in a 3-game series, anything can happen. So, all right. So, as we mentioned, we've got the third member of our team, Kara, the queen of diamonds, who knows baseball like nobody's business. We're going to bring her up now, and she's got one play that she wants to share with our audience. So she's making her way up now. She's working the tables as she always does. All right, so we got her headset. We got a little booster chair, so we can fit in here. And let's see, we're gonna get her connected. Cara, the Queen of Diamonds. That's right. We're talking baseball diamonds. How you doing today, Cara?
Doing great. How's everyone doing? Thank you for having me here.
Let's move that in a little more. There we go.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we're good. All right, so Cara, as we've telling everybody, you are the Queen of Diamonds. Dougie Betts and I just gave our picks for who we think is going to, make it to the World Series, win the World Series. You said you got one play that you want to share.
I sure do. Well, first, I want to say thank you to the folks here at the boat for having us here today. Great people, great drinks, great food. This is truly the best place to be.
It is. It is.
I have one pick, though. The win of the World Series, it is the Boston Red Sox plus 2,200.
All right, hold on here. Is that a homer call? Because we're in New England, you're taking the Red Sox. Do you really believe?
I truly believe them.
You do. Okay, fair enough.
We do have, two fans. I don't know if any fans here in the house. If you are, say go Sox.
Any Red Sox fans in the house here?
Woo!
All right, good. Perfect.
Well, I just want to say the Red Sox comes down to two players. Both are pitchers. I'm talking about Chris Sales and Nathan Eovaldi. I hope I pronounced his name correctly.
Yeah, that's not an easy one. Eovaldi, yeah. So Chris Sale, Eovaldi. Yep, I got you. Two good pitches, no doubt.
So these two pitchers have great years. The Sox win the World Series. The Red Sox have enough hitting to win it, but it will come down to pitching. Go Sox.
All right, go Sox. All right, so basically, if Sale and Eovaldi have good seasons, you think they've got enough to win the World Series?
I sure do.
All right, fair enough. There you heard it, folks. Cara, the Queen of Diamonds, lay the money with the Red Sox to not only make it to the World Series, but win the World Series. Dougie Betts, what do you think? You agree with her?
I definitely think it's a good pick, and I agree completely in that sense. Obviously, they bring in, as announced today, Trevor Story to add to that lineup. So the lineup is far and away okay. The biggest thing is the pitching. And a lot of people forget, too. I forgot for a little bit, too. They brought in James Paxton, too.
Yes, they did.
Paxton's not going to pitch probably till the middle of the season. But if you get that full staff of Eovaldi, Sale, Paxton, whoever, Whitlock wants to stick in there, if you're going to keep Michael Walker in there, whatever it is. But if you have a guy like Paxton who plays half as good as he has in his career to be a back-of-the-end rotation guy, that's all they really need. They can do bullpen by committee. They did it last year to get this close to the World Series. The Red Sox certainly do have that chance. Again, it all relies on health and how good that pitching can be.
And listen, if he's got the right name, Trevor.
Yeah,
right. He fits right. Trevor. Okay,
he's
perfect for New England. Yeah. So, welcome to the team, Trevor. Okay. All right, Cara, the Queen of Diamonds. Thanks for coming up for your picks. We've got some. We're going to be giving out some. We've got some. What are they called again? Trinkets. Yeah, there you go. It's a keychain with a flashlight with the 7 and Hook logo on it for everybody that's here tonight. So at some point before we leave, Dougie Betts, myself, and Cara will be handing those out. So, all right, Cara, thank you for the insight on the Red Sox. All right.
Thank you, and have a great day, everyone.
All right. We're gonna move on now. We're gonna head to the NHL, Dougie Betts. Okay.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
One more thing on the Sox. Obviously, Trevor Story coming to the Red Sox was a huge news story. And it made everyone think, and we've seen Xander Bogaerts in the past say he's not moving from shortstop. That's his position. Obviously, contracts coming up for Bogaerts in the future. Trevor Story, maybe he'll play second base.
Maybe, yeah.
Who knows? Will this, upset Xander Bogaerts? We don't really know yet. But one stat I saw, thanks to Red Sox Stats on Twitter, a great follow. If you're a Red Sox fan or sports fan in general, there's similar pages like it. But Trevor Story, his batted balls, which obviously one of these in-depth stats that was made famous by Moneyball. That movie here. It says here in 2019, should he have had all of his batted balls that took place at Coors Field happen at Fenway Park, he would have had 42 home runs. Last year alone, he hit 25 home runs with the Rockies. He would have had 38 at Fenway Park.
I like to hear that.
The biggest thing, though, defense. Plus 36 in defensive runs saved in over 2,900 innings the last 3 years. Xander Bogaerts, a minus 18.
Ouch.
Again, that's one of those kind of deep stats. Will it make a difference?
Moneyball.
Yes or no?
Right.
But Trevor Story coming in here with Xander Bogaerts, I don't think Bogaerts should leave the Red Sox organization
No, I
at
don't
all.
either. I don't.
They need to find a way to make this work.
Yep.
But that could be a little
That's
telling.
interesting.
Could be a
Very
little
interesting.
telling with Story's defense.
All right, so like I said, we're going to move on to the NHL now. Dougie Betts and I, again, we're going to give our 2 picks on each in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, who we think is going to win the Stanley Cup. We're also going to give our picks on prop bets. We've got who's going to win the Hart Trophy, the MVP, and then the Best Goaltender Award, which is the Vezna Trophy. Yeah. So, all right, so Dougie Betts, what do you got coming out of the East? What's your A play?
A play by far, even with the odds changing a little bit. I like the Florida Panthers at plus 550. They have far and away the best team in the East. Now, we've seen collapses before. The Tampa Bay Lightning a few years ago. And you can't forget about the Lightning, too. They added Brandon Hagel from Chicago, who is a very good young goal scorer. They gave away 2 first-round picks, I think a second and a prospect for him, whatever it may be. They went all in on Hagel to add some depth scoring.
Yes.
And Tampa Bay wouldn't so shock me if they somehow go 16-0 and win the Stanley
They're
Cup.
pretty streaky.
Because that happens. But if I'm a betting man, and I like the way Florida's built this team with Jonathan Huberdeau, Alex Barkov, too, as a hockey fan or a hockey scout, probably very, very, very pretty picks when they drafted them. As an outsider's perspective, they weren't the flashiest guys in the draft. They weren't those kind of players. But they went, grab Barkov, grab Huberdeau. They've built an absolute unit of a team around them with a tremendous goaltending tandem. Back on defense, led by Aaron Ekblad, who was a number 1 pick a few years ago. Should be a Norris Trophy favorite this year. That Panthers team is just an absolute unit. They add Claude Giroux, and I think that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's why I have them as my A play also. I really don't have much to add to that other than, Bobrovsky in that 30 wins, 2.57 goals against. And then, like you say, the icing on the cake is picking up Claude Giroux.
Yep.
Okay, so watch out.
Yep.
Florida Panthers are coming. All right, that's your A play. That's my A play. My B play is, and again, not a homer play here, but the Boston Bruins, all right? They're plus 1,600, currently 4th in the Atlantic Division, 38-19-5 overall, 81 points.
Yep.
They're scoring 3 goals a game. They're letting up 2.6. Obviously led by Pasternak and Marchand, each 33 goals, 25 goals respectively. They finally figured the Tuukka Rask thing out and just said, thank you, this wasn't working. His head wasn't there, his body, whatever. And, Ullmark and Swayman have been playing pretty good in net. So that's kind of whatever happens, and I like what we've got right now between the pipes.
Yep.
And they've got a veteran presence. Obviously, Patrice Bergeron, Nick Foligno, too, kind of forgotten there.
Yep.
When they get in the playoffs, a guy like that is going to be vital.
Different
And I like the way they're playing right now. They've won 11 out of their last 15 hockey games, okay? And that's why they've moved up in the standings the way they are. They're starting to get hot. As the season was about 20 games left right now, I think they have 13 home games, 7 away. I like the way their schedule plays out the rest of the season. So that's why I like the Bruins as my B play at plus 1,600. And who'd they pick up today for defense?
Hampus Lindholm.
Right.
And sign him to an extension. So
right.
It's a big future commitment to a great defenseman.
That really shores up their defense. All right.
Yeah.
They've got 4 really good defenders now with McAvoy, Carlo, Matt Graylick, and now Lind. That's a good foursome. So keep your eye on the Bruins, folks. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and as a Bruins fan, I'm certainly on par with you and hoping they win. But if I'm looking strictly at the odds and strictly at who I think is going to come up as a sleeper, if they can somehow get by the Lightning and the Panthers, I like the New York Rangers at plus 2,000.
Rangers, okay, yeah.
Obviously,
goaltending, right?
is the biggest thing.
Igor
Shesterkin, he had a huge hype around him coming into the league, and he certainly lived up to it so far. Now, obviously, the playoffs will make or break the reputation of a goalie and also the psyche of the goalie. But if Igor Shesterkin can play like he's been playing, he can single-handedly carry a Rangers team that has a Norris Trophy winning defenseman in Adam Fox, who is almost at a point per game this year as a defenseman, which you don't see much anymore. Mika Zibanejad. He revitalized Chris Kreider, who was playing like he did 5-6 years ago.
Yes.
Obviously, Artemi Panarin on there. He avoided the whole Russia incident, got back into his hockey mindset, and has been absolutely tremendous for the Rangers. Even a younger guy like Alexis Lafreniere, again, weight on his shoulders and being able to come up as the number 1 pick and produce for the New York Rangers, which, again, it's crazy to think that the Rangers just had a number 1 pick.
I know.
And this
I
team
know.
is on a roll. If I'm looking at somebody who can, if the Lightning get swept by the Blue Jackets sort of thing again, and the Panthers don't live up to it because they could easily be taken to a 7-game series.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
I like the Rangers at plus 2,000, all riding on Igor Shesterkin.
I can't argue that because he's a goalie can win you a championship, and he's a goalie right now that can win a team a championship. So, all right, let's move to the Western Conference. All right. My A play is the Calgary Flames, currently sitting at plus 900 to win the Stanley Cup. They're first in the Pacific Division right now with 82 points. This team is like a pinball machine. It's exciting, okay? They score goals, and then they score more goals,
Yes.
okay?
Oh, absolutely.
They've scored 210 goals on the season. They've only let up 147, okay?
Yeah.
Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, Lindholm. I mean, it's 30 goals each, right? I mean, it's fun to watch those guys play. And then in net, you got to have a goalie to win a championship. And Jacob Markstrom, okay, 48 games in net. He's got 29 wins. His goals against 2.07. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So
You need that.
his save percentage is .928, and what I call the wild card, and the reason why I like them to win, to get the Stanley and win the Stanley Cup, is Milan Lucic.
Yep.
Okay, he's still in the league, believe
He
it
is.
or not.
He
Okay,
is getting paid handsomely.
he's leading the team in penalty minutes, believe it or not. Still, okay. The reason why I really like Milan as the wild card is because him and I share a birthday. Birthday, not the same year, but he was born June 7th. I'm born June 7th. That's why Milan Lucic is the wild card in this game.
Hey, sometimes when it comes down to a final decision on what you're going to put your money on, something like that puts it over the edge.
There you go. There you go. Sometimes it's not handicap, and sometimes it's just dumb luck.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the Flames are my A pick.
Yeah, and I definitely a great A pick for sure. For me though, I can't look against this hockey fantasy team of the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Andre Burakovsky, who was a B-role player for the Washington Capitals and is now an absolute force in Colorado. And out of all that, all those big names, as a hockey fan, you think, who's leading that team in points? It's got to be McKinnon. No, it's Nazem Kadri.
Yeah.
Nazem Kadri, the Toronto Maple Leaf legend who tried to kill half the NHL, has fixed himself in Colorado and is playing absolutely ridiculous, 74 points. Devin Taves on the back end, tremendous defenseman.
Yeah.
Again, Norris candidate up there. Absolutely. They bring in a couple players this year. Josh Manson at the deadline from the Ducks. Tremendous defenseman from Anaheim who was overlooked by a rather poor Anaheim Ducks team. He comes in as a right-handed shot on the back end that's going to make a huge difference. And then in net, I guess that's technically their only real question mark in Darcy Kemper, who was average in Minnesota, picked it up for his last year in Minnesota, and then got shipped over to Colorado. Kemper's playing well this year.
He is.
You wonder how much, though, is that because of what's in front of him. 923 save percentage, goals against is 2.4, so right in that same league as Markstrom and Shesterkin. I think he's ended up around like 4th or 5th in the league.
Is. Yep.
But Darcy Kemper's not really a big-name goaltender, and he's not a big-game goaltender necessarily. So will that make a big difference? Who knows? Only time will tell. But the base they have in front, that top 6 core defenseman, it's not even like the Bruins where we say, yeah, it's a good top 4, it's a good top 3.
No, this is 6.
Their top 6 of
Yeah.
defense is ridiculous, and their forward depth is unbelievable. So I would lay everything on the line for Colorado going,
I got you.
going all the way.
It's hard to argue that. They believe it or not, they started the season off pretty slowly.
Yeah.
Like it was like, wow, they got all these good players, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
About 10 games, 15 games in, they gelled,
Yep.
and they've just been hammered down for the rest.
Absolutely.
All right, so my A play is the Flames. My B play is the Edmonton Oilers at plus 3,000. The beginning of the season, they were my pick to win the Stanley Cup. I'm sticking with them. Okay. Now, again, they're currently 3rd in the Pacific Division with 74 points. Again, it's like a video game. 200 goals. 212 goals. I'm sorry, they've let up 196. Scoring isn't their problem. Okay, it's in net.
Yes.
Okay, so Conor McDavid, 35 goals, 55 assists, leading the league in scoring. Leon Draisaitl right behind him, 41 goals, 45 assists. Those two are 1 and 2 scoring in the league. Okay, it's the goaltender. It's Koskinen. All right, Mikko. All right, 3.04 goals against.
Yes.
Last year he was 3.17 goals. He got a little bit better, but that's their Achilles heel. Okay. Edmonton can outscore anybody. It's just their goaltending. They've got an okay defense. It's all about offense with Edmonton. If they can outscore you, they're going to win. That's why they're a plus 3,000. But I do like them if they can get in the playoffs. McDavid and Dracut, if they get hot, watch out.
Yeah, and they're difference makers, and they can stay healthy. Obviously, it's one of those things where they just need to get to the playoffs. That team has built so forward heavy, not even in the sense of just the forward position, but they build from the stars, and they did great doing that. Two, I mean, it's kind of hard not to when you see the talent level of Draisaitl and McDavid to say, hey, we probably should draft them.
Good choice.
But going on through the rest of their lineup, they've struggled building up a team that's going to be right around there. They finally have done that this year, but the West is super, super competitive. It's going to be really tough for the Oilers. But if they get hot, Conor McDavid has that talent alone, never mind with Leon Draisaitl on that team to carry them to a championship.
Listen, remember, when Wayne Gretzky played and they won cup after cup after cup, it wasn't because of their goaltending.
Yes.
Okay, it was about the points. It was about putting the biscuit in the basket.
Yep.
So that would be kind of fun to see Edmonton come back. All right, who's your B play in the?
My B play right now is the Vegas Golden Knights. They are at
there you go.
1,300 right now. Obviously, the Knights expansion team that made history by making it to the Cup final the first year.
Yes,
this
they
team
did.
has only improved. Robin Lehner in net not having his best year, but again, he just needs to be hot for 16 wins. That's all he needs to do. Forward depth is great. Jordan Marchessault, Chandler Stevenson, Riley Smith leading the scoring for the Knights. Not household names at all.
No.
Not at all. Riley Smith, former Bruin for a little bit.
That's
there.
right.
Really shined once he went to Vegas. Again, Jordan Marchessault started with Florida with the Panthers system, made his way out to Vegas, has played tremendous. Back end, Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo.
Like him.
Great defensive core there. Guys like Evgeny Dodonov, who went off when he played for Ottawa. Great scorer there. Ends up coming over to Vegas as well. But the biggest X factor there, not goaltending, not defense, not forward, it's Jack Eichel.
It is.
Jack Eichel starting to get his rhythm back with Vegas. I think he's got 11 points in 16 games, half and half goals and assists. So he's doing a little bit of everything. He's never been in the playoffs. Not really his fault.
No, Buffalo. Buffalo. That's all you got to say.
It's a Buffalo thing.
Yeah.
But Jack Eichel, if he can play like Jack Eichel's supposed to, where at one point he was eye to eye with Conor McDavid.
He was,
he can lead this team to a deep run. That's really all they needed, I think, when they ended up losing the Cup final, is they needed that true star power.
They did.
They didn't really have one true guy, and now they do in Jack Eichel, and I think if it's not this year, next year for sure. But I like them at plus 1,300 this year to make a run in the West.
Does he get his groove back completely? Yeah. If he does, watch out. I agree with you. That's a good pick, Dougie Betts. All right, now let's look at a couple player futures, okay, and that's awards, okay, and that's who we think is going to win the Hart Trophy, which is the league MVP. Right now, I'm going to my Oilers, okay? I'm going to Conor McDavid. He's plus 350 to win the Hart Trophy. He's leading the league in points. And I know listen, you got Matthews from Toronto. He's having a phenomenal year. Huberdeau, we talked about him. Ovechkin, the old man, still having a good year. And then Igor, the goalie. He's also having an unbelievable year. I just think Conor McDavid has done enough right now to win the trophy.
I certainly think that I like that pick too, because especially if the Oilers can continue to win and he can raise them up the standings, you could see that made a case for. I'm going back to my first documented pick as a member of the 7 Hook podcast team. I made 3 hockey picks long term.
He did.
Ovechkin's kind of let me down a little bit. He's still in the hunt for the Rocket Richard. He let me down a little bit. Trevor Zegras and Mo Seider are neck and neck for the Calder. But my Hart Trophy pick back in January was Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah.
He was plus 800 at the time. That's what I got him for. I think he's down to about plus 450. But he is the core, along with Alex Barkov, with that Florida Panthers team. And I like Jonathan Huberdeau to take home.
Holding a nice ticket there. There's some value in that ticket.
And not to mention, too, they did a mock kind of awards pick from different staff and writers around the league. And Huberdeau was that number 1 guy just as of a week ago based on unofficial votes.
Yeah, nice play. All right, Vezna Trophy, best goaltender of the season. Who you got?
I'm going with the favorite, Igor Shesterkin.
Igor!
At this point, maybe if you got him at the beginning of the season, you got some better odds. He's minus 450 right now. But if I got to put money down on the Vezna, unless something drastic happens, he's just been way too consistent. Led a team that last year was at the bottom of the barrel. And this year is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. I think he takes it home.
Yeah, and I agree with you. He's right there. I think I'm going with Jacob Markstrom from Calgary. 2.07 goals against. I think he's percentage points off from Igor. They're like 1 and 2. I just think, again, I think he's done enough this year. And if Calgary keeps winning, again, I think they're going to be there. So good plays on that. And Markstrom, I think he was plus 600.
He's right there as
right
well.
around that. So, all right. So before we move to March Madness, we're going to cover a number of games that are going to be taking place later this afternoon. We've got a little trivia, okay, and we're gonna give away a 7 and a hook hat here. So, and this is a NHL trivia. Matter of fact, it's Boston Bruins related. Okay, so hopefully we got a few Boston Bruin fans that have watched hockey a little bit over the years. So, tonight's trivia question is: which Boston Bruin has the most career penalty minutes? Which Boston Bruin has the most career penalty minutes? First come, first serve. You're going to get a 7 and a hook hat. Come on up if you know the answer. All right, Google fast. What year? There's no year. It's career. For a career. For the entire career, who has the most penalty minutes for a Boston Bruin? You can't win. All right, one more time here. Which Boston Bruin has the most career penalty minutes?
Not Bobby Orr.
Getting
Not
close.
Stan
Getting
John.
close.
They were getting close.
Who said Terry O'Reilly? Terry O'Reilly is the right answer. Whoever said that first, come on up, okay? That's right, Terry O'Reilly. 2,095 career penalty minutes for the Boston Bruins. All right, here's the winner. Congrats, my friend. What's your name? Adam, where you from? Adam from Tyngsboro. Congrats, winning the 7 and a hook hat here. Knew that Terry O'Reilly was the penalty minutes career, had the most penalty minutes, Douglas, 2,095. Okay?
Yeah, he's one of the last of a dying breed that if you add up their total games played, goals, and assists, he still has more penalty minutes.
That's right. And again, you know, I have a soft spot for Terry O'Reilly, obviously Big Bad Bruins. But you know what I share with Terry O'Reilly?
Not a birthday.
I do. Myself, Terry O'Reilly, and Milan Lucic, all born on June 7th.
You know,
Pretty cool,
That
huh?
is the kind of line where if you actually got out there and started skating with the Bruins, you would be perfectly safe.
I agree.
You would have no worries at all.
They would protect me. Matter of fact, I have here, and I'm going to put it up for the podcast. This is the Terry O'Reilly bobblehead doll when they retired his number back in 2002. I was at that game, and I decided to when I decided on the trivia, I was going to bring this to the show. And one of the co-hosts that's not here tonight, Jimmy D, for Double Down, him and I were at that game back in 2002. Pretty cool, huh?
And in 2002, I went to a game with Mr. Jimmy D himself and got a Joe Thornton bobblehead.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Look at that. A lot of history here.
Guys.
A lot of history. All right. Let's move on now. So, hey, thanks for playing trivia, and enjoy that hat, okay? All right, let's move on now. March Madness. We're in the middle of March Madness. NCAA tournament. We're knee-deep in the second round of the tournament. After today, the Sweet 16 will be solidified. And we always like to give out a few factoids, Dougie Betts, about whatever we're focusing on. And we're going to talk a little bit about March Madness. Now, we are a sports gambling talk show, so we always like to look at kind of the gambling aspect of the tournament or the Super Bowl or the World Series. Okay.
Yeah.
How much do you think will be bet during March Madness, Dougie Betts, on the games that are played? Give or take.
25 million.
25 million. You're a little bit south, okay?
A little bit south.
10 billion with a B. $10 billion will be wagered on the March Madness games over the next couple of weeks. Approximately 50 million people participate in this. So people that normally don't gamble during March Madness. Again, there's brackets they fill out, so it's kind of fun. Yeah. 50 million people. All right, to give you some perspective, when we broadcast the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday here, just that one day, the Super Bowl, $7 billion in one day. All right, so Super Bowl is the biggest single-day event, but March Madness is the biggest, event money-wise, and, it is over 2 or 3 weeks, but $10 billion wagered.
bad.
Wow. Pretty good, huh? All right, now, speaking of brackets, filling out a perfect bracket is literally impossible, right?
Yes.
It's 1 in 9 trillion. 9 quadrillion. I can't even say the number right. That's a 1 with 18 zeros after it, all right?
It's up there.
That's up there, okay? Warren Buffett, legendary investor, $1 billion he'd offer anybody that can fill out a perfect bracket. It's never happened.
No.
And it's never going to happen.
No, probably not. But if it does,
Maybe it's
as
you.
Lloyd Christmas said,
That would be a
saying
very
there's
nice
chance.
Christmas. Yes,
Saying
yes.
there's a chance.
All right, so, and then TV ads, okay? A regular, during the week, the standard games, right now it's $500,000 for a 30-second TV ad on any of the stuff you're seeing during March Madness. When we get to the final game, it's $2.5 million for a 30-second ad. Again, 7 and a hook, we're not ready to do that yet,
No,
but
no,
hopefully
we're up
maybe
there.
next year. Maybe next year. All right, so there's little fun facts. All right, let's move to the later games. These are all games that are going to take place later this afternoon. And first game I'm going to break down, Douglas, is Ohio State, a number 7 seed, taking on Villanova, the Wildcats. They're a number 2 seed. And this is out of the South region. Villanova is favored by 5 and a hook, 5.5 points. Points total set 132 and a hook. All right, the Buckeyes, how did they get into the second round? Well, they took down Loyola Chicago 54-41. Unbelievable defense by the Buckeyes. Suffocated Loyola Chicago. They only had 18 points in the first half. They shot 26% from the field for the entire game. It was all about defense with the Buckeyes. Now the Wildcats, Villanova, a little different outcome in their game. Had a relatively easy time against Delaware. Knocked them out 80-60. Nova shot 50% from the field, over 48% from three-point land. That was a really good game for Villanova. How do I see this game? I actually like the points in this game. I'm going to take Ohio State, getting 5 and a hook, 5.5 points. And as far as the points total, I'm going to look down. I'm going to go under 132 and a hook.
Yeah, I'm on board with you for half of that for sure. I think the comparison you made there with Ohio State's defense is definitely going to come into play. But at the same time, I like Villanova's shooters to still being able to overcome that. So I will take Villanova minus the 5 and a hook. But I will also take the under with you there. I think this is looking like a 75-60 sort of game where Ohio State does keep it relatively low scoring to Villanova standards. But I don't think they're going to be able to shut down the Wildcats.
Gotcha. Next game up later this afternoon, Michigan State, a number 7 seed, taking on Duke, the Blue Devils, a number 2 seed. This is in the West region. Line is set. Duke is minus 6 and a hook. Points total set at 144 and a hook. All right, the Spartans, Michigan State. Certainly, they had a tough time getting out of the first round against Davidson. A lot of lead changes back and forth. Michigan State did what they had to do. They did win the game 74-73. It was a tough win, though, no doubt. Duke, on the other hand, they did what a number 2 seed should do to a number 15 seed, and they literally ran Cal State Fullerton out of the gym 78-61. All right, in my opinion, this matchup couldn't be scripted any better. You got Tom Izzo. You got Coach K for Duke. His last year, Coach K, him and Izzo have met 15 times before. These are Clash of the Titans, right? Coaching-wise, anyways. Now, Coach K has won, or when I say won, his team, when facing Coach Izzo, has won 12 out of the 15 games, okay? How do I see this one playing out, though, Dougie Betts? I like Michigan State in this matchup. So I'm going to take the 6.5 points, the 6 and a hook with Michigan State. And as far as the points total set at 144 and a hook, I'm looking under. The main reason I like this play is I actually think Michigan State was looking past Davidson. Okay, that's why they had a little tough time in the first round. They knew they were going to play Duke, and they've been dreaming about playing Duke since the bracket came out. I like Michigan State. They're going to come to play. I'll take the 6 and a hook.
And I love the story, too, with Krzyzewski and Izzo going at it one last time in the tournament. I like Michigan State in general as a team. I think they're a good team, but they backed their way into March Madness. They lost a number of big games to similar opponents like Duke coming into March Madness. They realized that they needed to turn around probably halfway through that Davidson game and fought to win that game. Duke minus 6.5. I'll take the minus 6.5 for Duke. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be one of those where, some free throws at the end of the game might separate and cover that for you. The 144.5, I will take the over, though. I do like this being more of like an 80 to 70 sort of game.
Gotcha.
Where Duke will prevail. But I just think Michigan State, a fire is going to be lit for sure because of the coaching matchup, because they want to help their coach, Tom Izzo, take down Coach K one last time. But I think the way they backed into this tournament, I think there's just too much ammunition for Duke to study this team and realize what they need to do to take home the win. So I like Coach K and Duke getting another win.
Makes sense. What do you got? What's the next game up on tap?
So the next game we got here, we got Wisconsin, 3 seed out in the Midwest against Iowa State, the 11 seed. Again, Cyclones coming off a win over LSU in the first round, and the Badgers, a close game against Colgate.
Very close, yeah.
And again, though, looking at the schedule, looking at the season, how each team did game by game, I wanted to kind of really see, because March Madness, you're introduced to a lot of teams. I can't say I was watching every Ohio State college basketball game coming into this. So you do your studying. You get an idea as an 11 seed. Are they true an 11 seed? I think they're better than an 11 seed overall. But I also think Wisconsin is a true number 3. I like Wisconsin to take this game. They're -4.5. I'll take that. I think, again, will be a close game. But Iowa State lost a lot of games this year that really don't mix well with what you expect out of a team to make that
very
deep
up
of a
and
run.
down season.
And they had a good record. They have a good team overall. But Wisconsin was able to take out a number of contenders throughout the year, a number of ranked opponents. So I'll take Wisconsin today, -4.5.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree with you on that. I actually like the Badgers in this matchup, so I'm gonna lay the 4 and a hook. I think the Badgers are gonna come to play. I think Iowa State, decent season, but disappointing season also. As far as the points total set at 126, I'm looking over. I'm going to go over 126 in this matchup. All right, next game up on the board, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, a number 11 seed, taking on a number 3 seed in Texas Tech. This is in the West region. Line set at -7 and a hook. Texas Tech is favored. 132 and a hook is the points total. All right, Notre Dame. So far, they played 2 games because they had to play in the play-in game in the first 4. They knocked off Rutgers 89-87 in double overtime, and then went on to knock off number 6 seed Alabama 78-64. Pretty good showing so far for a team that most people thought shouldn't have made it. But you know what? They won 2 games in the tournament. Got to give them credit. Texas Tech, they walked all over Montana State, 97-62 in the first round. How do I see this game playing out? Notre Dame's had a couple of good games. I think their season ends today. I'm gonna lay the 7 and a hook with Texas Tech. I think they're gonna cover this. And as far as the points total set at 132 and a hook, I'm gonna look down. I'm gonna look under 132 and a hook, Douglas.
Yeah, and I'm right on board with you for everything. Notre Dame, definitely a good story getting in the play-in game, taking out Alabama, but it was the wrong sport where they want to beat Alabama. College basketball isn't too much of a deal for them. Texas Tech, they're my favorite to win the whole tournament.
Yeah.
I think this offense is absolutely lethal. Defense is great, too. It's good enough to get by when you need to when the offense is that good. Obviously, Montana State isn't the highest-powered team they're going to face, but that's what you do as a top seed when you play those 14, 15, 16 teams. You show how good you are, and beating them by almost 30 points shows how, or over 30 points shows how good they are. Notre Dame, fine overall team. It's good for them getting to where they did.
Agreed.
But Texas Tech, I think, is going to roll today.
Yeah. What you got next? What are the next? We got 3 games left.
The only real upset I have right now, and again, it's always tough to predict upsets when you see how the teams perform during the season, and you see how the bracket's gone so far and who they played. The only real upset I have today, I think, with Miami of Florida, not Miami of Ohio.
The U.
The U against Auburn. I like the Hurricanes. At the very least, to cover the 7.5.
Okay.
Auburn's favored by 7 and a hook. I like Miami to at least be there. But
Keep it close, right?
Yeah. I like them to win outright over Auburn.
You like them to win outright?
I like them to win
outright.
outright.
You going to take them on the money line then?
I do
nice
that.
Nice play. I like it.
At the very least, if you're not as confident as I am, I think they can cover that 7 and a hook. But I think the way Miami's come into this playoff, a couple of teams they've been able to take out, a couple of those late games in the season, again, when they really need to start putting stuff together. Auburn's a powerhouse. But if all these matchups here, if I have to pick one upset, I'm going with the Hurricanes here. I think this is it.
Dougie Betts, upset special. You hit it first. Okay. All right, yeah. Hurricanes, first round, they eked out a win over USC, 68-66. Isaiah Wong, 22 points. He was the difference maker. Auburn, they took care of business against Jacksonville State. They were up by 12 at half. They ran away with the game. They ended up winning 80-61. I'm going to differ with you here. I think Auburn is a juggernaut. I think they've got a chip on their shoulder. They were ranked number 1 earlier in the year in the poll, ended up 8th, had a couple bad stretches there, but they're still a very, very good basketball team. Auburn, -7 and a hook. I'll lay the 7 and a hook. And as far as the points total set at 144, I'm going to look down. I'm going to go under in this game. So, all right, next game up, we've got Texas, a number 6 seed, taking on Purdue, a number 3 seed. And that's in the East region. Yep. The Boilermakers are favored by 3 and a hook. Points total set at 134. The Longhorns, Texas Longhorns, knocked out Ivy League champion Yale. Nobody wanted to play Yale. Texas got them in the first round. Did what they had to do. That could have been a scary game. Yep. Beat them 78-56. Purdue, what'd they do? They bounced Virginia Tech out of the tournament. Virginia Tech was kind of the darling, right? Yes. They had won the ACC tournament. Purdue's not going to get by. Purdue said, yeah, not so fast. Knocked off the Hokies 81-73 to get into the second round. I like Purdue in this matchup. I'm going to lay the 3 and a hook over Texas. And as far as the points total set at 134, I'm looking up. I'm going to go over in this game, Dougie Betts.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over as well. I like Purdue with the 3.5 as well. I think knocking off Virginia Tech is a great way to start off the tournament, regardless of what seed you are. You take out a team like that. It's a good morale win. Obviously, as you mentioned, Virginia Tech was hot coming in here. They had a really good season overall. So I like Purdue, though, with that win, that momentum they're riding, and obviously just how talented they are. It's not easy to be a 3 seed in March Madness going in. So you because again you start off, you're messing with some pretty tight competition up at the top. Purdue had to do a lot to get to this position. So I'll take Purdue minus the 3.5. I like the over on that as well.
Okay.
Go Boilermakers.
All right, we're heading down the home stretch here. Last game on the board, Dougie Betts. Yep. Who is it?
Arizona, the 1 seed down south against TCU, Texas Christian University, the Horned Frogs. Arizona favored by 9 and a hook, over under set at 143.5. I like Arizona for sure. I was on my ride in here debating whether they're going to be able to cover 9.5. It's always tough when there's a number like that to cover, but I think if there's a team who can cover 9.5, it'll be the Arizona Wildcats. So I'll take them minus 9 and a hook. Yeah,
I mean, TCU comes in as a 9 seed, Arizona are number 1 seed, right, in the South. TCU, they literally beat up the Pirates of Seton Hall, ran them out of the gym in the first round, 69-42. Again, Seton Hall, a lot of people's darlings. They thought, they were going to run over TCU. TCU, again, not so fast. Yeah. And they literally ran Seton Hall out of the gym. Arizona, they played Wright State, who had played in the first 4, kind of the playing game. They looked a little tired. Again, they were up by 17 at half and ended up winning the game 87-70. So Arizona did what they had to do as a number 1 seed. I don't think Arizona played great. They played okay. It was almost like a warm-up game. I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing in this game. I'm going to lay the 9 and a hook like yourself. I think they're going to cover that number. And as far as the points total set at 143 and a hook, I'm going to look down. I'm going to go under the total in that game. Yep. All right, well, that's going to put a wrap on today's picks and plays, Dougie Betts. Hopefully we gave everybody some good insight and some good information, so why they can go play the picks and go cash some ticks, right? So we're going to head to the exits. Again, got to thank everybody at the boat for having us here. Joy behind the bar doing a great job. The folks at Fortune and Flame Kitchen making some delicious food. The third member of the team, Cara, the Queen of Diamonds, she's making her way through the audience. We're going to be giving some handouts. We've got some keychains and some flashlight we're going to be handing out. And most importantly, to the listeners, the 7 and a Hook podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. Again, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the number 7 and a Hook. Go to YouTube, give us a subscribe. Search for 7 and a Hook podcast. All right, for Dougie Betts and for Cara, the Queen of Diamonds, I am Brooksy, and we are checking out. And as we always say, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.
Thanks again for tuning in to the 7 and a Hook podcast. Until next time, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.